I'm joined by Limahl. Limahl is the founder of IBS Coach. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you, Will. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Maybe we can get started by you just saying a little bit about yourself and the story of how you came to create IBS Coach.
Sure. So I'm Limahl, co-founder of IBS Coach, and we're a company that is aiming to improve the quality of life for the 800 million to a billion people that have digestive health issues such as irritable bowel syndrome. How did I get involved in this is a long story, but to cut it short, my background is in food. I'm an award-winning cookbook author. I've created programs to help people eat well on a small budget, which has helped around 100,000 people. And I found that what I was doing was cookbooks and a sort of online program, but I found that the cookbook world has a launch and it has a trough, and it doesn't really have such longevity. So I was looking at what sort of technology would enable me to create long-lasting change, and what area of health does my expertise fit with a sort of a condition. And I have, a couple of close friends that have digestive health issues, who have gone through this sort of revolving door cycle of seeing doctors and not getting treatment. And when I dug into it more, I realized that, well, actually, the clinical treatment for irritable bowel syndrome is partly dietary change. And if you couple that with lifestyle intervention like reducing stress, improving sleep, and that sort of thing, you can really reduce symptoms, even eliminate symptoms in 75% or plus people. So that's where the idea was born, and after a lot of research and getting a team together, here we are.
Awesome. Maybe we now we'll dive into the nitty gritty of how IBS Coach actually works. So you say, I guess it's like what, 1 in 7, 1 in 8 people suffer from IBS Coach. IBS suffer from IBS. Quite the opposite. How do they come across this product? How do they interact with it? And then how does it obviously impact their lives and transform their management of the condition?
Yeah, sure. So I guess if we look at the current journey that someone has, people spend between 1 and 4 years trying to self-manage their symptoms. Like I said, this revolving door situation of going to doctors, perhaps getting a 1-page leaflet saying, try this. In fact, we spoke to doctors, and one of them was saying, I don't believe the treatment works. I said, well, why? He said, well, because I tell my patients to go and try this dietary intervention, and then they come back and they say it hasn't worked. And we say, okay, how do you know they've tried? How do you know they've stuck to the intervention? How do you know that they've done it? What tools did you give them to help them? And it turns out there's a massive gap there between information and action, and patients just are not getting the right tools to help them sort of do this treatment effectively. So what we do is we digitalize this treatment, this solution. It's quite hand holding. We like to talk about progressive disclosure, about giving people the right bit at the right time. We don't want to bombard people with information because cognitive overload and adherence drops and all this sort of stuff. So we coach people, we guide people, we take them on a journey, and we do this through the app has 3 phases. The first phase being an elimination phase, where you eliminate certain ingredients in your diet, and these ingredients, they're the ones that trigger symptoms usually. So that brings your symptoms to baseline, reduces your symptoms in 3 out of 4 people. And then you reintroduce certain ingredients, and that is the testing phase. And everybody's different. and through our program, we can help you determine which ingredients or which triggers or which things trigger your symptoms. And it can be made up from different ingredients. It can be stress, it can be lack of sleep, the usual dietary things like getting enough fiber, getting enough water, hydration, avoiding certain very high fatty foods that, that can affect digestion, motility. So it's kind of a personalized program, and it differs for each person. And at the end of it, you identify which are your specific triggers, so you can remove them. And we coach you through this with recipes, with meal plans, with coaching, and help you maintain your health.
Amazing. And whereabouts are you at with the product now? Like, what kind of milestones have you hit, and what's available at the moment? And then I guess, where are we going? What's on the horizon?
Yeah. So where we are at the moment. So we've got a great team, and interestingly, some of our team actually suffer from IBS. So it gives us sort of extra insight into product build, which is really important for this sort of treatment. We've built a very strong MVP. We've been testing it with a group. We've had some really nice feedback. I think it was something like 85% said that it had helped improve their symptoms, and I think 71% said they'd be willing to buy it. So it's early tests, but it's very promising in that sense. Where we are now is we will launch the complete commercial product at the end of January, beginning of February. So we've got quite a tight timeline. So but we want to work to that, and we think we can get the product out in the market early 2021. And then it really becomes a game of putting people through the program and getting feedback. Where are we right? What have we got wrong? What can we improve? How's our retention? Are our messages correct? We know that the program works because it's a clinical program, but it's a case of refining those little bits to give the best experience that we can give people.
Awesome. And let's say things go well for you. What is your longer term vision of success? Like, what kind of impact can this have on a large scale?
Well, at scale, which is where we want to go. Firstly, we're a direct consumer company, which differs actually to some of the other health tech apps in the market. From our research, we found that working on net promoter score, working on customer experience is really important. There's no, if someone's not willing to use the product because it's not good, you don't have a market at all. So firstly, we create a product that people love. That's something that we are doing. And then we scale it, and we scale it as a direct consumer. And once we've built up a compelling story with lots of evidence, then we go to the NHS and health insurers and we say, okay, our treatment, clinical, evidence-based, it works, people adhere to it, it's going to save the NHS X amount of money to adopt. So then we aim to move into there. Then we go over to the States and we say, 6 in 10 people are missing social events, and IBS is the second highest cause of sick days after the common cold. So we can help employers to retain staff and increase productivity. So we can work with companies there, and we can get into health insurers, and that's how we can scale. And once we do that, we've built a platform of dietary intervention with lifestyle intervention. We can take this model and we can apply it to the next chronic condition, and that's when we start getting yeah, start moving into other sort of health markets.
Cool. So at the time of recording, I suppose we're wrapping up the BGV program, and you're going to be entering a new phase with IBS Coach. How can people get involved? Help make IBS Coach a success and help take things to the next level.
Well, they can go and use it. I think there's there's still a real taboo about digestive health. And that's something that our messaging and marketing is going to have to address. If as we know, 1 in 7 people suffer from digestive symptoms. Yet there isn't much of a conversation about it. It's still very taboo. April, for example, is IBS Awareness Month. We need people to, they don't necessarily share, it's not the sort of thing you're going to be sharing socially on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, to your mates. But we found that most people know someone who has IBS. And so the thing I would ask people to do is, if you know someone that is suffering, suggest they come and give us a try, because, well, we have a freemium product, so they can try it before they purchase it, and if it helps them, then super.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting to you and learning more about IBS Coach. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. Thank you.